So Amaranth Township has a council meeting coming up on October the 7th at 10 a.m., which is a Wednesday, and there's a lot going on with this one. Hi, I'm Josh McEwen with Dufferin News, and just to give a bit of a rundown before we get to the main point, question period is open up until Tuesday, October the 6th at noon, and all questions can be sent to the deputy.clerk@amaranth.ca. They're interviewing for a new CAO clerk, so they have to approve the minutes for those meetings. And I hope whoever they choose doesn't screw up the notes, because their acting CAO clerk seems more organized than those who have done them in the past. And I really appreciate the job that she's been doing, because the minutes are helpful, especially when you have to go through 4 or 5 hours of a council meeting. So it is appreciated. They have a delegation, the Amaranth Council does, from their auditors, where they will present audited financial statements for 2019. So anybody that's concerned about the financial issues in Amaranth should be attending this one, because there will be some worthwhile information. And I mean, it's October. We should have had this theoretically a long time ago, I'd think. But anyways, the books were apparently a huge mess from the sounds of it. And at least they'll be ready to go for 2020, as it sounds like the current treasurer, Faisal Qadri, is keeping this year's books in good shape, which is great. And then Deputy Mayor Gerrits will be giving a verbal update on the Inclusion and Equity Committee for the Township of Amaranth, as the applications for that just closed last week. There has also been some updates from the Integrity Commissioner on some inquiries being terminated and on one being commenced. Don't have any more details on that, other than maybe it looked like it originated in June, which is around the same time as the Pride flag. But the main thing I am discussing is a report on the council vacancy position, which includes alternatives and a recommendation for filling the council seat that opened up after former councillor Mark Tyson resigned on September the 16th. This is when he put in his written resignation. Now, according to this report to council, being put together by Amaranth's acting CAO clerk, Nicole Martin, Amaranth's council has 60 days, which I think is November the 15th, to appoint someone to fill this seat or to pass a bylaw requiring a by-election. Now, if council is going to appoint someone to fill this seat, they apparently have a few options to go about it. They could choose someone from the prior election, like someone who ran in it, to fill the seat, if they're still eligible, which means they are a resident, a ratepayer, or like a property owner. And that list consists of at least, at most, actually, 2 people who ran in the election and didn't get accepted or didn't win. This could allow the seat to be filled by November 4th, 2020, which is relatively quickly, when the councillor would be sworn in. And according to the vote counts from the last election, this is Susan Graham with 604 votes and Philip Kane with 345. Now, logically, Susan Graham would be the first choice if this were the approach to be taken. That being said, there are other options, many other options. And it is quite possible, after recent events, that more people want to get involved in Amaranth's political process. That opportunity is available if council decides to open up the process for nominations. And this theoretically would be more democratic than just going with last election's picks, because that is a while ago and things have changed a lot since then, as we all know. But anyways, according to acting CAO Nicole Martin's report, this would require a special meeting on November the 12th at 6 p.m. to review nominations, with the swearing in happening at the regular council meeting on November the 8th, 2020 at 6 p.m. The third option seems the least likely. At least I kind of hope it's the least likely, as it may actually be required if they can't agree on anybody, the council. And I mean, given council dynamics, that may be the case, but we can kind of all hope that a by-election wouldn't be necessary, as that may be unsafe and it requires money. And Amaranth apparently doesn't have a lot of that kicking around. I mean, they had to turn down the mayor was trying to fight against a donation to the food bank. So, I mean, maybe things will be different after they get their financial statements, though. That'd be great. So anyways, the nomination day for the election would happen on October the 23rd at 2 p.m. And the voting day for this would be about 45 days after, apparently, on December the 7th, 2020. And then you would have the swearing in happening later that week, which apparently would be December 9th, 2020, which would be a council meeting. This seems expensive, and it is. Option 1 is obviously the cheapest, where they're just picking somebody off a list, the 2 people off the list that ran in the last election, and they should have the contact details for them. And if they accept, that's pretty easy. Easy said, done. That being said, it's not the most democratic option. Option 2, which is the open nomination process, where anybody that's a resident could come out, like a resident could come out and nominate someone to be a councillor. This requires some staff work and some advertising to let people know that they can actually take part in this process, and which of course would be some money. Now, Nicole Martin's reports to council recommends that they do option 2, the selection by appointment from nominations. This encourages community participation, will minimize costs to the township. Even though this is less democratic than a by-election, it is more democratic than just choosing 2 names off a list. And that being said, there is precedence for this. There is going with an open nomination process isn't uncommon. Shelburne and Grand Valley have done this recently to fill up vacancies in their councils that they had within the last 5 years. And it didn't end up like it didn't sound like it turned negatively at all. So this recommendation seems to make a lot of sense given what's happened recently. That being said, given council dynamics, if they cannot agree on a person to be on council between the 4 of them, which is quite possible, then that would most likely result in a by-election anyways. And if that happens and they don't decide until November 15th to do that, because they are too caught up trying to decide on the nominees who could be on the council, that means the seat, again, if there was a by-election, would not be filled until the new year. Again, that's not optimal. I mean, for a 4-person council is able to be done. I mean, they've been doing it already, but again, a 5th person may be beneficial. That is the way the council is supposed to be organized. And again, a by-election is the most democratic option, but it is expensive, and it may require at least some element of in-person voting, which means safety with the coronavirus goes down a bit, which isn't great. But anyways, that's the short of it, and we'll see what happens on October the 7th, the council meeting for Amaranth Township. And remember, you have until noon on Tuesday, October the 6th, to get your questions and comments in for the public question period. And I'm Josh McKeown with Dufferin News, and until next time, thank you for listening, and have a great one. Thanks.